Today we're thinking outside the box, which means we're taking regular ingredients and we're just gonna get creative with it. We're gonna be making things like smoked pheasant with the peppercorn vodka cream sauce. Yeah, I know. Then we're gonna finish that off with cherry delight bread pudding with a whiskey cream sauce. It's gonna be good.
Chef Champion here to take you on a culinary journey I promise you've never been before. I'm here to help mold you, shape you, motivate you, and most importantly, inspire you into cooking like a champion. I'm Chef Champion, but my friends call me Ace. Welcome to the new age of culinary learning. Cook like a champion on this great station.
So we're gonna be showing you how to make this stuffed potato with smoked pheasant. So I know you guys are wondering a little bit about smoked pheasant. It's a wild game. All you hunters out there, I know you bring home a lot of this smoked pheasant home to your wives and kind of wonder, what do I do with it besides just throw it in the oven? Well, my good friends over at Newski's Smoked Meats right here in Wisconsin, they smoke this for hours on hours, which really takes away the gaminess that's in the pheasant, which makes for a delicious meal. You can treat this as a pheasant, or if you don't have pheasant and you have a leftover rotisserie chicken, this works just as well. So this whole recipe is based on, I have a bunch of leftover stuff in my refrigerator. What do I do with it? So I'm gonna show you what to do. So the first thing we wanna do is get the meat off of the pheasant. So I'm just gonna take my knife, and I like the breast meat. Just cut off a nice little piece of that pheasant. I can smell the smokiness in there right now. It smells so good. So good. And you guys always remember, when you guys are cooking in the kitchen, taste your food. You gotta make sure it's right. Well done, Newski's. Well done. So I'm gonna get just a little bit more of that pheasant because I wanna stuff it pretty good. And I can actually just take my hand in there and just pull that meat right out. Gotta love it. Get in there. There we go. So now I'm just gonna take this and give this a light cut. And then I'm just gonna try and shred this the best way I can. And as you see, I'm just pulling it apart with my fingers, no fancy trick. It's how we roll down south. We don't have all those fancy gadgets. We just have our hand and our soul. And I always like to shred things because when you shred it, it seems like it fills up the potato a whole lot more and gives it a lot more body. That's what you need. All right, so now that we have that all shredded up, go ahead and get some of this pure goodness Wisconsin potatoes. For those of you guys that don't know, potatoes are excellent in potassium. They're actually pretty healthy for you. So far so good. We have some healthy pheasant and a healthy potato. So I bake these in the oven for about 50, 60 minutes, covered in aluminum foil. And then I'm just gonna split those right down the middle. Little trick I learned from one of the restaurants is you just take it and lightly slap it down on the table, pinch the edges in, and then it kind of opens up just like that. We're gonna go ahead and put that right into our bowl. Put that out. And then what I like to do is just take a little end of a spoon and just kind of loosen up that potato up in there. So when you go in there and you grab that first bite, you can actually grab a lot of the potato and everything else that's in there. Okay. So now we're gonna stuff that with the smoked pheasant. And that's what I mean, think outside the box. A lot of times when we serve potatoes, what do? We put a little bit of bacon on, a little bit of cheese, a little sour cream, just like everybody else does, and call it a day. Never in a million years are you gonna get a potato stuffed with smoked pheasant, until now. I'm gonna keep adding that to it. That's all part of cooking like a champion. Half of the battle is thinking outside the box. So the way this works is, I use pheasant, and I know in the Champion kitchen, you know, we have smoked pheasant left over, and that might not be you at home, but if you have like a leftover smoked rotisserie chicken, leftover turkey, definitely just shred that up and stuff that in potato, make this cream sauce, and you're good to go. So then I'm gonna top this off with a little bit of salsa jack cheese that I picked up at Shullsburg Creamery right here in Wisconsin. You can find their product either online or in your local grocery store. I like that salsa jack cheese just because it has a little bit of a Mexican bite to it, which I really, really love. A little bit different. But by all means, if you don't have salsa jack, you can use your favorite cheese. I'm gonna go ahead and stuff that on there. All right. So that's gonna go in the oven at 350 for probably about 15 minutes. You just want that cheese to melt on it real nicely. But before we do that, we want to add a little bit of presentation, a little bit of garnish. So I'm just going to add a little bit of yellow bell pepper. And then we're going to top that off, just like that. There you go. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this in the oven. We're going to take a quick break. Don't you go nowhere. All right, welcome back. So now I'm going to show you guys how to make that vodka pate cream sauce that I told you about. My potatoes are in the oven, they're almost done. So this is what I want you to do at home. You put the potatoes in the oven with the cheese and the smoked pheasant in there, and once that cheese is melting, we're gonna be preparing our cream sauce. So it's all just balance off nicely. So the first thing we wanna do is go ahead and cut up a couple of our shallots. We'll turn our stove on low. Add in a little bit of this healthy avocado oil, which for those of you guys that don't know about avocado oil, avocados are a superfruit. They're high in all the omegas, 3, 6, 9, vitamin B12, niacin, you name it, super, super healthy for you. So I'm gonna cut up a couple of shallots, and I can tend to be a crybaby sometimes, you know, when you're cutting onions and garlic, or onions and shallots, should I say. So I got these fancy little onion goggles that I picked up at Cook's Corner. So make sure your knife is nice and sharp. Just like I showed you with the onion, we're just gonna make some slices, and we're not gonna cut all the way through. We're gonna leave just a little bit of the onion still intact. And then we're just gonna finish that. All right, cut this other one up. So as you see, just always remember not to slice all the way through. The purpose of me doing that is so that the onion's not all over the cutting board. I hate having to try and chase the onion all around. That way the onion's all nice and tight. All I have to do is turn it at a 90-degree angle and slice it again, and I have my diced. Always remember, whenever you're sauteing anything or searing anything, make sure that oil is nice and hot. Throw one in there to see how it is. I can hear it, I can hear it. So we'll go ahead and add in all those shallots. There we go. Now we're just gonna add in our garlic. Use one of my little fancy garlic rollers that I picked up at Cook's Corner. You can pick up at your local kitchen store. Give that a nice little roll, and that should separate the garlic. So with this one, I can't use a full claw, so I'm gonna do a little 2-finger baby claw. And this time I'm gonna slice all the way through. And when it gets to where it's pretty close to my finger, I'm gonna fold that over. Let's finish it off. Give that a nice little shake. All right. Then we're gonna give that a nice little rough chop. And I know you guys are seeing my knife skills and you're like, man, you know, I wish I had knife skills like that. Practice makes perfect. I get so many people that say, oh, my knife skills aren't all that great. And I'm like, when the last time you cut anything? Well, you gotta practice to get better. It's all about that muscle memory. You keep practicing, you'll be able to cut like a champion too. I'm gonna add that garlic right there, just like so. I'm gonna give that a nice little mix. I don't wanna cook these all the way because I'm gonna continue cooking them in the sauce. I'm just trying to wake them up. So I'm gonna add in a little bit of this Van Drastic vodka right here, just a little bit, just to say I put some in there, just a little bit. And then we're gonna give it a little flambe. So I know you guys are wondering, why am I not cooking on a big stove? I have this nice little BTU burner from Iwatani, and it actually has 12,000 BTUs, so I can cook this indoor, I can cook this outdoor. Very, very good thing to handle. And it's butane, so it's safe for indoors. Nice little mix. So then now I'm gonna deglaze that pan with a little bit of chicken stock, a little bit of cream. And then I'm gonna let that cook up a little bit more. I'm gonna let that come to a boil. I'm probably gonna let it reduce by half, and when we come back, I'm gonna pull that smoked pheasant stuffed potato out of the oven, and we're gonna top that off with this pate cream sauce. Welcome back, you guys. So we got in our oven our potato stuffed with pheasant, topped with that nice salsa jack Schulzberg creamery cheese. We're gonna go ahead and finish this sauce. Now, we're using pate, Glorious Malone's out of Milwaukee. They make the best pate ever. And I was never a fan of pate because it was liver, but they actually use organic smoked sausage. Believe it or not, pate actually melts beautifully. So actually what we have right here is your basic white sauce. So just imagine Alfredo sauce infused with the peppercorn-paté. So we're just gonna take that pate, and I'm probably just gonna use a little bit more than half. Give that a cut in half, and then another one cut. Oh, I can just smell the peppercorns, and I just got it. That's good eating right there. And I love it because I don't even have to add any seasoning or any spices because all the spice and all the flavor is right here. So I'm gonna add that to the sauce with all those spicy peppers. Now, just in case, if your sauce doesn't thicken up, always have you a little bit of cornstarch slurry on the side, which traditional cornstarch slurry is a little bit of water and cornstarch, but you guys already know how I roll. So we're gonna make a little bit of a vodka slurry. I may need to add this, I may not. Always when you add in the slurry, add in a little bit at a time just to kind of see how it works. Gonna turn that up. All right, while that's finishing, let's go ahead and check on and see if our potatoes are ready. I would say just the way Mama used to make, but Mama never made me a potato stuffed with pheasant, so this is all for you, America. Can you guys smell that? Get up in here, get up in here. Come get you some. I can smell all the garlic, the shallots. I can even smell the vodka, believe it or not. All in there, all working together, coming together as one sauce. I love it when everything works the way it's supposed to work. And that's really how it goes. You get your base white sauce, and you can literally add in whatever you want. You don't want to do the pate? Add in a little bit of basil pesto. Now you have a basil pesto cream sauce, just like that. So it looks like I'm gonna need to thicken this up just a little bit, so I'm gonna add a little bit of that slurry and see how it adds. Always remember I said add in a little bit at a time, stir that up, see how it works. Looks like everything's coming together and sticking it up very nicely. So I'm gonna show you guys a really cool little technique to determine when your sauce is ready. So all you wanna do is dip your spoon in the sauce, and you see how the sauce actually coats the back of the spoon? That's how you know that the sauce is ready. They call that Napa. Say it with me, America. Napa. All right, I think I heard y'all out there. Glad you guys are working with me. In the kitchen with Chef Champion, learning how to cook like one. The last thing we're gonna add is some of that pure salted butter. I always like to use salted butter because then I don't have to add a pinch of salt. You ever get recipes like that where they say, I add a pinch of this, pinch of that? And as you guys know, please use real butter. Don't use fake butter. It's pretty much not butter, it's pretty much just margarine. So just keeping it real with you guys out there. And I'm just letting that butter melt in slowly. Now we'll go ahead and pour some of that Paté Vodka Cream Sauce on there. Smells good to me. Come get you some, come get you some. And I put this in a nice bowl, and that way the sauce can kind of just stay at the bottom of it. So as you're eating this, you can be able to just kind of soup up all the vodka cream sauce with the potatoes. So last thing we'll do, we'll add in a little bit of garnish. I took some green onions and just slivered the edges off of them, soaked them in a little bit of water. We're gonna set that right in the middle, just like so. Always remember, stay positive in the kitchen. I know sometimes you don't want to cook, and I get that, but just get in there and have some fun. And always remember, you got to try, you got to cook, and one day you'll be cooking like a champion. Hopefully that's right after this episode. So get in the kitchen and start cooking, you guys. What are you waiting on? That's our show. We'll see you next time.